Often, when we read something personal like a published diary, we get caught up in a moment described by the author. But a diary can also be treated as a text worthy of analysis. A diary is a book or log of events and experiences that is written by someone at regular intervals. While reading a published diary, we need to analyze the effectiveness and validity of the text by noting historical facts and events. Analyze the writer's style in regards to word choice, tone, author's attitude toward the topic, use of figurative language, and sensory details. Identify character traits and changes within the character or the character's relationship. So, if you were writing a diary today, many of us may still keep diaries. Just to note everything that's going on in our lives, maybe when we get older, maybe when we get past the dating ritual, maybe when we get past all the sports and the education and we finally have our career, we could look back on those diaries and see all the changes that we've gone through. Um, so the diary that we're focused on today, although the writer is no longer with us, she left a great piece of work for the ages, and we'll be focusing on the Diary of Anne Frank. Diaries often have a few format elements in common that create a sense of structure. As you read the text, entries are usually dated. So Monday, I realized something was going on in the world, and my dad came to me hastily and said, "Get down in the basement, hide, be quiet." So maybe this is one of Anne Frank's entries on the first day that she realized that things are going to be drastically different in her life. Diaries can contain self reports that try to capture events, reflections, personal, often private feelings, or interactions close to time which they are occurred. Historians and literary scholars recognize that diaries offer unique perspectives on eras and events. They can be used psychological research and study particular people or groups of people and how they interact. A primary source is a document or a tangible object which was written or created during the time being studied. Diaries, speeches, interviews, and letters can all be considered primary sources. We will need to understand a primary source opposed to secondary, opposed to another source that you may choose to use in your upcoming writing assignment. But for the purpose of this assignment and for our writing assignment, I want you to have primary sources only. So the primary source of this essay that you'll be using will be the Diary of Anne Frank. Other primary sources may be a speech that was written by Adolf Hitler at the time. Other primary sources may be, um, if you can find something handwritten that's been logged in history from Anne Frank's mother or from a war hero at that time. Um, Focus on primary sources to analyze Anne Frank's diary. A famous example of authentic diary that has served as a primary source is the diary of the young girl Anne Frank. This best selling diary shares the thoughts and experiences of a Jewish girl during World War II. It was published in 1947 and has been translated in over 70 languages and has sold over 30 million copies. When Anne first started writing in her diary in 1942, it was a personal journal meant only for her. But in 1944, while still in hiding, Anne and her family heard that the Dutch government wanted to collect letters and diaries after the war so that their struggles and experiences could be shared. Anne then went back and edited her entries, often adding more details. She dreamed of becoming a famous writer, but sadly died in a concentration camp a few weeks before the war ended. So, in our reading of the Diary of Anne Frank, I want you to pay close attention to certain details in order to analyze the text. So, first, we're understanding the definition of a primary source. And secondly, we're explaining how to analyze this primary source, which is the Diary of Anne Frank. Anne's writing style is often friendly and conversational, and it shows her dry humor despite such difficult circumstances. She has an advanced vocabulary for a 13-year-old and is often reflective and expressive, especially as their time in hiding increases.